Thank you very much. Please let's take our seats. Asanteni sana, tunaweza kuketi chini. Kwanza ningetaka kuchukua nafasi hii kushukuru viongozi na wananchi wa hapa Bungoma kwa kukaribisha Wakenya wenzao kutoka sehemu zote za taifa letu la Kenya. Watu wa Bungoma, asanteni sana. Viongozi wa Bungoma, asanteni sana. Nataka pia nichukue nafasi hii niwashukuru majirani zetu. Our friends, brothers and sisters from Uganda, we appreciate your coming, your participation, and what you have brought to enrich this great event. Distinguished performers, honorable members, learners, teachers, and parents, ladies and gentlemen. 2 days ago, the most important speech at the launch of the National Conversation on Kenya Beyond 2030 was not delivered by the President, a cabinet secretary, or a development expert. It was delivered by a 7-year-old boy, Adrian Kweth Ombuni. Adrian was unequivocal about the future he wants for himself and other young citizens like those gathered here today. A Kenya that is safe and happy, with good schools, reliable hospitals, clean water, and jobs for our young people. I listened to Adrian as he addressed us at the KICC, and this is what he said. And by 2063, when independent Kenya turns 100, Adrian will be in his early 40s. The Kenya we are imagining is not abstract to him or even to his age mates who are in this auditorium. The Kenya we are imagining is theirs. It is the country in which they will want to work, raise their families, and pursue their dreams. That is why the conversation about Kenya's future cannot be held by adults on behalf of the young. It must be held with them and by them. And therefore, I invite every young person in school, in college, working, and everywhere else to be front and center, left and right of this conversation. It is in that context that we gather for the state concert of the 98th Kenya Music Festival. I am here not merely to speak to you, but also to listen. Adrian spoke from a podium. You have spoken from the stage through poetry, song, and dance. The message is the same. Kenya's young people know the country they want, and they are already helping to build it. You have articulated your hopes, laid bare your frustrations, illuminated our blind spots, challenged our conscience, and lifted our spirits. You have not just entertained us, you have helped us and held up a mirror to our nation and invited us to imagine what Kenya can become. I listened to the young people from Nzoia right here when they sang their taarab. I listened to the young girls from Muteteni and all the other participants. Distinguished performers, somewhere among you may be the next Bien, Njirai, Nyanshinki, or Lupita Nyong'o. A Kenyan who will one day command the world stage and screens alongside artists such as Burna Boy, Thames, and Tyler. Jirai, for example, spent her school years participating in this festival and learning classical music. Today, she is a singer, songwriter, and a producer whose work reaches far beyond the school stage. Among you two are tomorrow's instrumentalists, and I saw many on this stage: sound engineers, lighting designers, intellectual property lawyers, and production company owners. A generation ago, a musician needed a recording label, a physical album, and a radio station to be heard. Today, a song recorded in Bungoma can reach Nairobi, Lagos, London, or Sao Paulo within seconds. The opportunity is real. The global recorded music industry earned nearly 32 billion US dollars. That is about 4 trillion Kenya shillings last year. Almost 70% of it from streaming. In sub-Saharan Africa, recorded music revenue grew by more than 15% to 120 million US dollars, or approximately 16 billion Kenya shillings. These figures carry a clear message. Music is not only culture and entertainment. It is also commerce, intellectual property, employment, and export income. It is one of the ways nations position themselves in the world's imagination. Therefore, as we discuss Kenya beyond 2030, the creative economy cannot be an afterthought. It must be central to our plans. We must ask, what would it take for a talented child from Bungoma, Turkana, or Garissa to build a secure livelihood from their gift of music? What institutions, skills, and financing are required? How do we ensure that our artists own their work and are fairly paid whenever their property is used? Our education system must therefore do more than prepare children to produce correct answers. It must help every child discover the question their life is equipped to answer. That is the promise of competence-based education and training. We are moving from an education system that asks, what do you remember? To one that asks, what can you do with what you know? That is what competence-based education and training is all about. And I am a very solid believer in competence-based education and training. I see it in our children. I see it in my own daughter, Mia, that she appreciates stuff better than I did when I was her age. And it is because of the kind of education that she is going through. This system is founded on access, equity, quality, and relevance, because a child in the city and one on the slopes of Mount Elgon must have an equal opportunity to discover their talent and compete with the best in the world. That is why, even in a difficult fiscal environment, we have made education a top budget priority. Since 2022, we have undertaken the largest teacher recruitment program in our country's history, hiring 100,000 teachers in 3 years and another 20,000 this year. We have also accelerated the expansion of classrooms, student hostels, laboratories, and other educational facilities across the country. Why? Because education is the most consequential form of empowerment and the most equalizing aspect of any human endeavor. Under the competence-based education, music, drama, sports, and arts are not marginal activities to be funded from whatever remains after everything else. They are recognized career pathways. You know very well that this was not the case. When I sat down with the Presidential Working Party to realign our education, and when we had very serious challenges, when parents were asking us questions about their transition, the transition of their children from one grade to another, where is junior school going to be? What is going to happen to senior school? I remember very well that the Presidential Working Party had robust conversation with me and my team. And we made the conscious decision that because our children are gifted differently, we must make it absolutely clear that all our children have a stake in Kenya's future, and no pathway was superior to the other. The children who are good in mathematics are as good as the children who are good in art, and all of them must be given an equal chance. And that is why, as we employ teachers, as we plan our budgets, we have made sure that going into the future, all pathways are funded sufficiently. Professor Ngala, the chair of this music festival, alluded earlier that this festival has been treated in the past as an extracurricular activity, and funding has not been predictable. I want to assure Professor Ngala that going forward, this festival, our children who are in the art and creative space will have a budget line like all other pathways going into the future. And that this music festival, the festival on drama and film, will now, going into the future, be funded by the government of Kenya, because this is no longer extracurricular, this is squarely in the curricula of Kenya. And we are developing talent and future professionals from this pathway. Over the past few years, we have undertaken the hard work of building Kenya's creative economy. Our objective is simple: to make talent pay and create sustainable opportunities for those working in the sector. Today, I want to highlight areas in which we have made progress and indicate what comes next. First, I directed that music royalties be collected and distributed through the eCitizen digital platform because our artists deserve a system that is transparent, that is accountable, and that works for them. In the past, collection of royalties was a game of guesswork. It was shrouded in mystery. It was opaque, and artists could not follow where their royalties were. Today, on the digital platform, they can follow. It is transparent, and we have made sure that at the very least 70% of the revenues raised go to the artists themselves. My office, the Kenya Copyright Board, e-Citizen, and industry stakeholders have implemented the system. Royalties are now being collected through e-Citizen, with 70% protected for distribution to artists and other copyright owners. We committed to move beyond merely celebrating our artists to ensuring that they are paid. To advance this commitment, the Copyright Bill and the Creative Economy Bill are now before Parliament. I urge members of Parliament who are here and their colleagues who are not here to consider the bills that we have submitted to Parliament. And I want to thank my good friend Dan, who is the chair of sports in Parliament, for sponsoring these bills. Thank you very much, Dan. To strengthen the protection of our creatives and accelerate the formalization of the creative economy. Let me explain a bit what the Copyright Amendment Bill is going to do. I had a meeting with artists, and many artists, because of the nature of the law, were exploited by people who come from outside Kenya. Their work, their talent was used elsewhere, and they did not get the money for which they had worked hard for. We are now changing the bill so that it is not possible for anybody to extort from our Kenyan artists, and that the law of Kenya becomes final on the remuneration and the money that is due to our artists. I want to commend the artists who brought this up to me, and I want to assure you that working with Parliament, we will protect your work, we will protect your talent, and you will earn from your talent. The second issue why we are changing the law on the creative economy is because the creative economy has operated as an informal sector for a long time. We are now making it formalized because in any case, it's now a clear pathway in our education system. We expect professionals to emerge from this field. We expect business people, producers, songwriters, and many other professionals from this space. And therefore, legislation must provide for them to operate in a space where their rights is guaranteed by law. Thirdly, during the last Kenya Drama Festival state concert, we launched Summer Play, a Ministry of Education platform that brings education and entertainment together. This year's Kenya Music Festival has been streamed on Summer Play, enabling parents, teachers, and Kenyans everywhere to watch our young people perform. We will expand the platform to include drama, sport, educational material, and safe entertainment for our children, while creating new opportunities for Kenyan creatives to earn more income. We have already worked with Meta to open Facebook monetization to Kenyan creators. Summer Play provides another avenue through which their talent can reach audiences and generate income. Number 4, as the performances on this stage have demonstrated, Kenya does not lack talent. Our challenge is to discover and to develop. The government of Kenya, therefore, working with the private sector, will establish the Kenyan National Talent Search to identify talent and innovation in music, comedy, acting, poetry, film, dance, sports, and other fields throughout the year in every part of Kenya. The State Department for Youth, working in collaboration with the Creative Economy Office and with the support of Sports Fund, must now move with urgency to roll out the program without further delay. The Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, who coordinates between the national government and the counties, will ensure that this receives the full support and coordination of government at both levels. To align the national talent search with our most urgent national priority, I propose that its inaugural theme be Kenya Beyond 2030. We want to listen to the youth. We want to know what they think about Kenya Beyond 2030. Beginning next year, school creative events shall also carry this theme. Let our young people use their creativity to imagine Kenya's future development. I look forward to personally recognizing winners of the national talent at the Kalasha International Film and TV Awards. There is one group of young Kenyans we must recognize: our Kenyan scientists and innovators. I say so because as a scientist myself, I see what they do, the innovation that they have brought. In fact, I did receive some who had participated in a global event in China and became #1. The same way we recognize the talent in music, in drama, I think it is time that we brought our scientists and innovators on board because they make a huge contribution to the future of our nation. Our schools have held the annual science and innovation competition since 1962, yet the winners have never been given a chance like the one we have here today. That is going to change. Effective next year, the Ministry of Education must bring the winners of the annual Kenya Science and Engineering Fair to an event, a state event like the one we have here for music and all the others. I want to meet them, see what they have built, and hear their ideas. Above all, I want them to know that their country believes in them and also values them. Ladies and gentlemen, thousands of performers have come to Bungoma from every part of our republic, bringing different languages, costumes, and traditions. Yet, standing together, they are unmistakably Kenyan. I have seen from northern Kenya in Wajir, from Isiolo, from all the way in the Coast Province, in Taita Taveta, from Kilifi, and all the other parts of Kenya, from Siaya. I saw from Nandi County, seen from Turkana County. Seeing them here in Bungoma is very heartwarming, that these young people are discovering the corners of their country. And when I was asked by my young interviewer there why this event was in Bungoma and not in Nairobi, the reason is simple, that we are one nation. Bungoma is as good as Nairobi. Wajir is as central as Kisumu. And we must believe in ourselves and believe in our country. And there is no better way for us to do this than for our children to lead the way. for them to know there is Kenya beyond their neighborhoods. There is Kenya beyond their family. There is Kenya beyond their community. And there is Kenya beyond their village. That is how we weave the country into our diverse communities, cultures, traditions, but weave it into one strong, united, and prosperous nation. How better to begin that journey than to do what we are doing here in Bungoma today. So to all our children, from wherever you have come from, this is your home. This is part of your village here in Bungoma. It doesn't matter how far you've come from. When you are in Bungoma, you are at home. I say so on behalf of the governor of Bungoma and all the leaders here and all the citizens of the people of Bungoma. And that is why the President of Kenya also has a home here, because this is Kenya. And listening to all our young people and the music and the culture, I am reminded that music and culture is a very powerful tool. It tells us where we've come from, reminds us that we belong to one another, and gives us the confidence to meet the world without losing ourselves. I thank the organizing committee, adjudicators, teachers, and parents. Above all, I congratulate the performers. Winning is gratifying, but the deep victory lies in finding the courage to step onto the stage and make your voice heard. The CS for Education has informed us about the reforms that we are undertaking in the education space. I am very, very proud of the steps that we have made because, as I said, education, the opportunity to learn, is the single most powerful tool of transformation of our society. It is the reason why we have now 7 pieces of legislation before Parliament to align our education properly so that we are certain, we are sure we have a legal foundation, a constitutional provision to make sure that our education is not only accessible, but it is also relevant, and that every child has an opportunity and no child in Kenya is left behind. You are all aware that we had shortages of teachers and it undermined our education. I want to thank the Kenyan public for providing the resources for us to hire more teachers. You all are aware that we had challenges in learning spaces. Again, I want to thank the people of Kenya for providing resources for us to build an extra 23,000 classrooms so that all our children have a place to learn. You also know that we had challenges with the funding, especially of our university students and TVET and KMTC. We have enhanced resources, but we need to align it properly. Again, it is the reason why we have put together the funding and the placement of our students so that as we place every student, we also know where funding is going to come from to make sure that every student placed has the requisite funding to complete their course. In the past, there was a different body placing students, and there was a different body looking for their funding. And the disconnect brought about very serious challenges. Some of the students placed had to change courses. Some of the students placed did not get the requisite funding, and therefore they did not make it. The reason why the higher education placement and funding bill is in Parliament is so that we are sure and certain that every child in Kenya placed will also have the funding to complete their course. The earlier model made it the responsibility of the parent to make sure that their children completed the course. Now we are placing that responsibility on government. And we are saying that a student must do the course for which they have chosen, and they have the qualifications to do it, irrespective of whether their parents have the money for that course or not. The government must make sure that a student going to do medicine or engineering does not change to do another course because their parent cannot afford the course of engineering or the course in medicine. And therefore, it is not the parent who is in class, it is the student. Therefore, learning in our higher education should not be pegged on the ability of the parent. It should be on the ability of the student. So long as the student has the qualifications to do whatever course they want to do, medicine, engineering, music, film, art, whatever, we must give them that opportunity because we want to build a wholesome community. Kenya now needs your voice in another arena. We have begun a national conversation about the country we intend to build beyond 2030. Do not leave that conversation to leaders and politicians, experts, or even adults. It is your life being discussed, your country being designed, and your future being decided. Like Adrian, I talked about him earlier, tell us what kind of education you need, what opportunities you seek, how technology should serve you, how Kenya can discover your talent wherever it is found, and how we should protect and reward those who create. Do not merely ask what Kenya will do for your generation. Tell us what your generation is prepared to do beginning today for Kenya. I am very happy with this occasion. Thank you very much for all those who participated, including our good people from the neighboring country of Uganda. I am happy that some Kenyan students will be going on a reciprocal visit to Uganda. You have all our support going into the future. There are close to 30, I think 30-something institutions, especially schools and colleges participating in this event today. And those are the institutions that did the best. We want to say congratulations. Tuwapigie makofi jameni. And I am asking the Ministry of Education, as a show of gratitude and an appreciation of your commitment, hard work, and talent, the Ministry of Education will provide 5 million shillings for every institution and every school that has participated here, so that you can improve on some of the infrastructure that will support these creatives going into the future. So, Bwana Waziri na timu yako, pangana na hawa watu ili mashule, colleges ambazo wameperform hapa leo, kila shule tuwapatie milioni 5 waweze kushughulika na kujenga foundation ambaye itafanya music and the creative space to improve. Mwisho kabisa nasema asanteni sana kwa sababu bado tuko na shughuli nyingine. Mimi nawatakia heri. Mkirudi nyumbani, tafadhali msalimie wazazi wenu, msalimie mashule yenu. To my good people, I heard somebody being interviewed. They said they come from the. You said what? The University of Nairobi, where I am an alumni myself. And to all our other universities, let me say, we wish you guys well. Carry our greetings to Kibabii University, Jomo Kenyatta University, and all the other universities that are participating, to all the teacher training colleges, to all the other TVET institutions, to our senior schools, junior schools, primary schools, and all the others. You have our very best wishes. I did ask the Teachers Service Commission last year as a commitment that we promote every teacher that participated in our art and creatives. And I want to commend the Teachers Service Commission. They have promoted 1,000 teachers as a demonstration of our appreciation of what they are doing, even when this was considered some extracurricular activity. So asanteni sana. To the great people of Bungoma, I will come back here for other issues. You know very well, outside State Lodge here, we are building a smart city. And I have instructed the Ministry of Housing that that smart city, originally it was designed to be 14 floors. I have said it should be redesigned so that it is 24 floors. And to make sure that we can accommodate more people, because we are not only building a smart city here, we are building a complete, city development with proper shopping spaces, medical facilities, commercial spaces, learning spaces, spaces for medical attention, and many other things. And we are not just doing that in Bungoma. We are doing it in every part of the Republic of Kenya. Because we must learn as Kenyans to believe in ourselves, and we must learn how every part of this republic is as important. Mimi nawauliza ndugu zangu wa Kenya, tujue ya kwamba usawa ni kitu ya muhimu. Kila sehemu ya Kenya, Mandera, Kisumu, Bungoma, Eldoret, Kiambu, Mombasa, kila sehemu ya Kenya ni ya muhimu. Na ndio sababu hiyo mimi nasema tutaendelea na kuunganisha wananchi wote wa taifa letu la Kenya, na tutaendelea kuhakikisha ya kwamba hakuna sehemu ya Kenya inawachwa nyuma na hakuna watoto wa Kenya wanawachwa nyuma. Asanteni sana. May God bless our children, our teachers, parents, and the creative spirit of our people and the great Republic of Kenya that we all belong. Asanteni sana. Thank you.
Another round of applause for his